Hello! And I'm not Ens. Yeah. But that was cringeworthy, wasn't it? But doesn't matter. I'm here with Metuz and we're gonna do a first play and let's play combination thereof on Orcs Must Die 2, which was released yesterday at 1900 CEST for those who give a shit. So yeah, Metuz, tell us something. What do you like about it? What do you don't like? Have you played Orcs Must Die 1? I know you have, by the way, but
Yeah, I've played a lot of Orcs Must Die 1, but all in the last couple of days I keened it out in anticipation for 2. I really liked it, so I was looking forward to this game. I know that you were as well. We're both anticipating this one hugely, and I'm happy to say that I've been very happy with the game. It's been pretty awesome. The only gripe that I think both of us had, Bass, obviously I don't want to speak for you, but I think we both felt the same way about the fact that a lack of co-op in the first game was somewhat of a letdown.
yeah.
So that's been rectified here in number 2. You can play as both the War Mage, it's kind of the arrogant, in-your-face, wisecracking dude, War Mage guy, and then you can play as a Sorceress who was the antagonist in the first game. So it's quite interesting to see how these two butt off each other in the storyline, because obviously they were sworn enemies in the first game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a matter of how replayable is a game, how interesting is a game. You know, can you have a lot of fun? Well, Orcs Must Die was a lot of fun. The replay value wasn't as much as Orcs Must Die 2 is, because one, we've got another character. So if you don't want to play through, you can go back and do another one with the other character. Because there are there's a couple of differences. It's not like the game's gonna be completely different, because you know, if we check our spell book, for instance, and we go over to traps. Me playing the sorcerer starts with an acid sprayer and an ice vent, and you met to start with.
I start with the tar pit, which is you got from the first game, and also the arrow wall, which you also got from the first game. So you'll notice that there's a lot of similar traps and spells from game number 1, but there are some additions on top of that. So there's plenty to keep you busy. Apart from the aforementioned couple of spells that Bass starts with, the rest of them are going to be identical to the ones that I get. So
Yeah.
those are the only two differences. And also it's important to note that you get a different weapon as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so for instance, weapon-wise, I start on the Scepter of Domination. Primary, fast ranged attack can be charged. Secondary, charm an enemy for a time, which is really useful on ogres, because for anybody who played Orcs Must Die 1, you can remember that getting rid of ogres was pretty tough, up to the point that you got, for instance, your spring traps to flip ogres, your physical traps basically to actually, you know, be able to touch ogres. And or the freezing trinket, which froze them, which allowed you to basically, you know, just keep giving them headshots and whatnot. Other than that, weapon-wise, I believe the rest is fairly the same, or not? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be very similar. Difference this time for the War Mage is you don't start with the crossbow, you start with the blunderbuss. So you can unlock the crossbow, it's still there, costs you 8 skulls. And that kind of moves into a different territory, Bass, where you can actually upgrade and buy spells this time round, and items and traps, rather than waiting for them to unlock after you've downed a level. So that adds quite a lot into the game itself, keeps things fresh and versatile, and you actually get unique and special abilities for traps and also the weapons. So again, with the cooperative kind of outlook, one person can go down one road, one can go down the other road, and you get the best of both worlds. So it keeps things much more interesting and entertaining, in my opinion, the fact that you can put your own little personality on each trap.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good to also mention that you have to actually make a choice between which unique. So I'm showing the acid sprayer now. Unique 1, acid shoots out further. Unique 2, acid briefly slows targets. So, you know, what way do you want to go? Will I be, you know, in co-op actually placing a lot of acid sprayers, because maybe my traps will actually be, you know, worse than the one that Metuz can place. It's kind of, you know, the thought process behind it has increased. It's no longer the linear kind of thing where you just, every map that you play, you get another trap, another trinket, another trap, another trinket, and whatnot. And it's the game's predetermined. The only thing you have to do is make the choice: what's useful here, what's useful there, and on what map. Now it's not just what's useful on this map and what's useful to place where. It's also what's useful to upgrade, what isn't, and what works well with my co-op partner. So that makes the game a lot more fun to actually play. I think we've pretty much covered the entire spell book. We've got trinkets. Well, you've also got vanity items now, which is like, you know, they don't really add anything, right? The only thing they do is make you look different. So hence the vanity.
Aesthetically pleasing. It's just how different you look. You can get different skins pretty much. So you get the Orcs lair from game number 1 if you got the DLC. I'm not sure what the sorceress gets because I haven't played as it yet. But it just for the Orcs lair costs 50 skulls, which is a fair chunk of your skulls overall, Bass. It's a lot of skulls to be spending on a skin.
That's why I haven't bought any. So. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trinket-wise, have we actually discussed trinkets yet? No, we haven't.
We haven't actually.
In basically short and simple, trinkets are just an added way to change certain effects that you can, you know. I'm at a loss for words in this case. I didn't really know where I was going with that. But the point is, for instance, yesterday I bought the scavenger trinket. All enemies have a chance to drop coins, and active all enemies are worth extra coins. It will take up one of the slots that you actually have in game. So right now we have something like 6 slots. So it's one of those. You have to think about it. You know, you can't just pick the same trinkets because it's kind of pointless. Metuz, you picked the healing trinket yesterday, right?
Yeah, I took the healing trinket. Basically, the active on that is when I pop it, it heals both me and also your cooperative player back to full or thereabouts. So it's really, really handy. If an ogre slaps you or something, or the sappers blow you up, it's a good way of actually keeping yourself and your ally alive. So I always keep that with me. But again, it's just added choices. Like, how do you want to approach it? There's a berserker trinket as well, which I think you activate at the cost of health. Yeah. And then you just basically go crazy. So again, there's lots in it there for different players, which is a massive difference from game number 1, which was basically, look, you have a crossbow, you have traps, go kill yourself some orcs. That's pretty much it. In this game, there's a lot more choice.
Yeah. Right, so enough for the, maybe it's not even theory crafting, but enough for the theory crafting, and, well, I see you're ready already, so I'll be ready as well. That's a lot of readies in a sentence.
It's a lot of readies. I'm going to press spacebar to continue. Warning, it's going to be quite loud, because unfortunately the game just... I think
I'll probably skip it as well, you know, just to like not spoil any cinematics for anybody. So I'll just spacebar through that one.
Yeah. For some reason, the introductions and the cutscenes in this game are mega loud. I don't understand why.
They're like eardrum. I don't want any more eardrum loud kind of thing. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like, you know, I don't understand because we have turned our volume down. I think the both of us in the options.
Yep.
Yet the cinematics are like like that, you know. It's like, you know, crazy. Right. So as you can see, Metuz is also already placing some tar traps and some spike traps. You can actually see like the castle doors here going boom, boom, boom and stuff. You can see one of those, like, I call it a kapow icon because it reminds me of like Batman and Robin, kapow and kaboom. Yeah. You can see it on the map, which means they're going to be spawning here first. We can follow these aqua blue kind of... What kind of color is this? I know what the color is called in Dutch, but I have no idea what this color is in English.
Which one? The rift?
Like the wisp. The wisp thingy that shows you where the orcs are going. I think it's something like aqua blue, greenish.
It's almost like a light turquoise color. I'm not sure.
Exactly. So basically, while we were, you know, figuring out what the color name was, not that really matters, you could see these wisps moving from the kapow icon on the map over to the rift. Short and simple, orcs are going to be booming out that kapow icon, which is like the castle doors, and then they have to move all the way through the map into this rift. Do they move into that rift, you lose rift points, and you've got the rift points in the top right where it says 25 with like this optical flare thing behind it. It'll tell you that if any orc runs in there, you'll lose a point, and immediately if you lose 1 point, you'll actually lose the chance to go full score, go full skulls on this map, which in the case of Metuz and myself means we go obsessive compulsive disorder stuff, and we'll be like, screw this, we have to redo the map again. Doesn't even matter how well we were doing because it's not 5 skulls, and that's, you know, we don't understand that. 4 skulls, we don't understand that.
But that's the great thing about this game is there's something in it for both. You can play like casually and just have a good laugh and a lot of fun with your buddies, or you can take it like a bit more seriously. There's leaderboards, for examples. You can pit yourself off against the rest of the world, and also, as Bass said before, myself and him both want to get 5 skulls. It's like a little challenge that we set ourselves. So if we do die, or if a minion gets through to the rift, we're like, okay, screw this, let's retry, let's get 5 this time.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it's also important to note that you're racing against time. So if you don't complete it under the par time, you will lose skulls for that as well. So you have to be quite quick and thorough, and at the same time make sure that nothing gets through.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and start it now. So.
Yep.
So in the top right, I don't know if you already discussed this, but you actually see 1 out of 9, which means you have 9 waves to go through. In this case, we already have checked that this map has a par time, which is like a challenge time of, why are you hitting me, you ugly bastard. See, as you can see, I get the screen where I'm actually interrupting myself, which is pretty neat. I get this green jizzy kind of wave around me, which means I'm slowed, which is hell of annoying. And you also actually see like the kapow icon on the map now. It's a countdown, so you know you have to actually relocate quickly. And as you can see, we've done some planning, because that's what we're good at. And we've actually placed some traps over here to make sure that this wave isn't actually going to be breaking through. Because as you can see, the map layout, which as we've it's compared to it's not the hardest map. They're all forced to walk one single route in this case, and they're all going to be converging in this giant hole. So basically, trapping up this hole to the maximum is going to get you, at least 100% clear rate, in the sense of they all have to run past this. So by the time that you've got this entire hole like paved with traps and whatnot, you'll at least be at something like wave 7 or something. So I think that's pretty much what we're going for.
As Bas said, it's important to figure out where the choke point is on each map and to stick down all your traps there, because obviously some of these orcs are going to be spawning quite a long way away, but the important thing for us is just make sure they don't get to the rift. Doesn't matter how long they take to get there, we just want to make sure that no one gets to that rift. So it's going to give us more than enough time now in these kind of pauses in between waves just to stick all our traps down and reinforce this. So again, obviously when we get towards the 9th wave, they are going to be throwing shit tons of stuff at us, but we should have enough traps to be able to repel them quite comfortably.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can what did he just say? Can you hear your own guy? He said something, look who has no arm or something.
Yeah. Oh, look who has no arms.
So yeah, that's kind of they've made the game during the waves a little bit more enjoyable with all these like one-liners that the characters pop out. They do get a little bit dull if you overplay the game, but they had to make choices. Oh, watch out! Ah! I hate these bastards. I so hate these bastards. So basically, they're like our biggest nemesis, I guess. These, what do they call them again?
Sappers.
Sappers, yeah. What are you doing here, dude? You're not even gonna go here. So they're like our biggest nemesis, because if anything, they've cost us the most like 5-star ratios and had to make it replay, because not so much you as much as me, because I've got less health. Actually, turn around and I see there's a sapper like, yo, dude, sup? And then boom, there we go. And that's, if you die, you'll lose rift points. Henceforth, you will not be able to complete it at 5 stars.
Yeah, indeed. And those sappers are really, really annoying, along with the runners as well, because sometimes a runner will get past you. You won't notice them. They're quite small and they're very fast, and they don't trigger the traps like the arrow walls and the spikes. So unless you have lots of tar pits and those freezing traps that Bas has, then they're going to get past. So you have to be really quick on the trigger to make sure they don't get past and get into that rift, because again, you lose 1 point, you lose your 5 skulls. Yeah,
and even at that, it's even worse that they trigger the trap, but they run past it, and the traps like call it, trigger time. It gets triggered and it has to wait before it fires, and that makes it even worse, because if these bastards run past while there's a wave coming, your trap will still be in its reset timer, which means it cannot fire. You can upgrade most traps to actually have a faster reset timer, but not all. So the thing is, it's like they basically make your trap even more useless, and on top of that, it doesn't even hit them, and they run through and cost you rift points, which is just, it's like it doesn't really matter much. There's orcs out there, that have a lot of armor, a lot of health, like these ogres that we're fighting now. But at least they'll trigger your traps, and they're nice and slow to actually get hit by the traps,
Yeah, plus with your weapon you can charm them, which is really, really strong.
I really like that. I sometimes really find it a little bit overpowered, to be honest, compared to the first game. The ogres were a lot more annoying, and there was only really one way, upgrade your physics. Upgrade your physics on the traps so that they actually affect ogres and whatnot. And in this game, it's the sorcerers is like the real anti-ogre, because the charm will, it's I haven't really upgraded my time yet, but it has to be like a good 5 to 6 seconds, I think. Yeah, just charmed one. Yeah, it's something like that. And they hit hard, they stun, which is really good. Because, you know, basically turning an ogre on his own flock, so to speak, will actually ensure you that you've already cleared like at least 2 to 3 of those big boys that we're fighting right now with the armor. Which is really useful. Makes it a lot easier, you know. Not that necessarily easier is more fun in this game, but
yeah, but it's one of those kind of things that you can choose between weapons. If you want to get in their face, you've got a sword, I think it's called, or something else similar to
like
that.
The paladin blade thing.
Yeah, or you can take the dwarven hammer, which is a bit more in your face. You spin around in a whirlwind and do a lot of AoE damage, but it's very slow. So again, you've got your perks, you've got your disadvantages. The downside, I guess, of the sorceress, we were playing against flying enemies yesterday, Bass.
Yeah.
And they were a bit more difficult to hit for you than for me because I had the crossbow at that time, which is very accurate. And on top of that as well, I can stun them in midair. So again, positives and negatives. So it's another nice way of being able to choose what you want to bring to the table in each and every map.
Yeah. And that's really, you know, the thing which I like about the game. It's as we said, we've been playing a lot of Orcs Must Die the last couple of days, and to be honest, it's a lot of fun. But as far as the dynamics went, it was a lot of the only thing that really changed, other than the fact that you were getting new traps and whatnot, which, you know, goes without saying. It was just the maps and the way that you actually had to fill the map with traps. And they just make the game not necessarily infinitely more fun, because that's pretty hard, but they make it a lot more fun because there's, you know, not just two ways to roam. In this case, there's actually like 20 now, which is really cool.
Yeah, they expanded a lot in this game, and I really appreciate that, because the first one I really enjoyed, but after maybe an hour or two, you were starting to feel it a bit, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas in this game, there's a bit more versatility, there's a bit more choice. You can go down different avenues. I think now, especially with the upgrades to each weapons and each traps, in the first game I found myself only really using the same 3 or 4 traps. In this game, because each and every trap has a little added incentive and added perk, you find yourself utilizing more of those traps to your advantage. So again, it keeps things fresh. You're not just relying on kind of the arrow walls and spikes that I have in this map, because this map is quite useful for them, whereas other maps are going to be more open plan and more difficult to actually bog down the enemy with tar pits. So you're going to have to take stuff like the auto ballistas, or perhaps you're going to have to utilize the mace wall. I'm not even sure what you call it, but that's the thing that hangs down from the ceiling.
Yeah, I think it's something with a mace, I'm sure of that, but I remember not finding that one the most useful one, so I wonder if they've actually, because there was a lot of traps, especially during further late game, in my opinion, that obviously, you know, the first set of traps that you get are the most useful traps. You know, I understand that. I understand that from a gameplay kind of decision, but having all the you know, the traps that you get at a later game become more and more or increasingly useless, I didn't quite understand. I think it was like it seemed to be somewhat of a maybe a creative decision that they were just like out of creativity.
Yeah.
Because well, I can't remember what was like the last trap that you got in Orcs Must Die 1 that was actually
the coin forge.
And was that completely useful?
It's good for extra revenue, I guess, added coin, but really I didn't find myself using it, because the downside is you couldn't build traps on top of that area. So it was really down to killing enemies there yourself with like your weapons or your spells or whatever. And because I'm quite trap dependent as a player, it didn't really fit into my playstyle very much, so I didn't use it a great deal. But as you say, most of the traps that I unlocked in the first kind of 5 or so levels I used all the way through to the end.
Yeah. See, and I can understand why they do that, because obviously if they give you like bogus traps from the start, it's gonna really impede the game fun play, you know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I wonder if they've actually changed it in such a way that these some of the traps that you get later on, because now you can I can't remember, in the first one could you actually see what traps you were going to get?
I'm not actually sure. I can't remember.
I don't think you could, because it was just like every map that you played, it was like, you've been awarded a decoy or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And then you've got like another trap. But yeah, I really wonder, but you know, we're not far away into the game yet to actually determine this, but I'm guessing that they've actually, you know, listened to some feedback as far as you know, the community goes, and probably changed some of that.
I mean, the trap. Well, the thing that I used the most in the first Orcs Must Die was the archers. I used them on every single map.
Same.
I thought they were brilliant.
As soon as you got them like on the fire arrows, it was like, oh, they do a shit ton of damage.
Indeed. Whereas now, you can't unlock them with skulls just yet. I'm not sure if you have to complete a set amount of levels, or maybe have to complete the game in War Mage mode or something, but you can't actually unlock them. So in this, you can't be as reliant, I should say, on the archers, so therefore you have to turn to other traps instead.
Yeah.
I do have the dwarves, but to be completely honest, I don't really think they're that good.
No.
Maybe if
I've seen them throw those bombs at like nothing. It's like they throw it and it ends up right next to them, and I'm like, dude, there's a fucking guy right in front of you. What the hell are you throwing a bomb next to yourself? And you know, it's like that. They're funny, and I suppose they're a good addition, but they're not. Let's put it this way: the dwarves aren't archers. Let's just you know, and I think they figure that part out, because the only thing I can, you know, it just goes to show that I think a lot of people really overused the archers in the first game, and they just didn't patch that out, because it's obvious that the archers really needed not necessarily a nerf, but they were, you know, they're like a rotating trap. They can shoot wherever. You can buff them up to do a shit ton of damage, and yeah, like you said, as soon as you got them in the first game, it was like you just use them all the way straight up to the end, because they were so invaluable.
I mean, there was maps when I was spawning like 20-30 archers just on top of a like archway, and they would kill everything before I could even shoot them.
And the only thing you needed to do is just like slow it down a little bit, and the rest was like easy mode.
Yeah. I honestly, tar pit, spike trap, and archers won me 3/4 of the maps.
I mean, look at what we've actually placed now. It's like, have we used any tier 3, 4 traps? We are one, I think, if the floor trap counts as like a tier 3 trap that you get at like 3rd or 4th level, but
I've used some auto ballistas, but that's purely just for me to see if they're worthwhile, and at the moment it's a no. So you know, again, keeping with things that you know are going to work and be reliable is the way forward to get the 5 skulls. But obviously, if you want to have a bit more fun, then you can experiment, try things in different orders and such. I found myself not really using, I'd say, half of the spells and traps in the first game, like ever.
Yeah,
again,
you know, putting things in perspective, I guess it is kind of hard for a gameplay designer to actually make everything really as useful as everything, because it's, you know, bingo.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. +8 bonus skulls, so stats wise, let's see, we did it in 12:45, so okay, that's almost a minute faster than you're supposed. That awarded us an extra skull. Rift points, 25-25, 5 skulls. You get extra skulls for 5,000 career kills, new high score, victory, and perfect buddy victory. What's a perfect buddy victory? Where's the tooltip?
Yeah, what does that even mean? Obviously, the rest are kind of self-explanatory, new high score, but perfect buddy victory?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
Me neither. Ah, well, that's the only, you know, little thing. You know, it's like sometimes they might just, you know, under-explain stuff instead of over-explain. Because we were on about this earlier as well. Discussing this between the two of us. Why there's I have a 31% and Metuz has a 69%. I'm guessing that's like, you know, influence in the game, but what's the influence based on? Does that mean that he's done 69% of the trap placing, 69% of the kills, 69% combos, more money, and then there's no theory crafting possibility because the combat kills are on 233, right? For you as well.
Yep.
433 trap minion kills, and so on and so forth. They combine the scores over here, so if that means that Metuz has 69% of whatever we have here, then okay, sure, but we don't know, and I don't think there's a way to actually check it.
No, it would be nice for them to break it down. The only thing I can assume is because the points are there, that I got 69% of the points, and that's the overall amount of points, and you got 31% of them. But again, that's just an assumption. It doesn't state categorically anywhere that either of us can see as to how it breaks down and who kind of put what into the overall points. So again, it's a bit of a nitpick, but it's these kind of small things that overall the game is a really enjoyable experience, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone that's on the edge and wondering whether they should buy it or not. It's very, very good and worth the while.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I think we're gonna go cut it off there. So I'd say we're actually trying to bring out one of these Let's Plays every day. Orcs Must Die 2 is a new addition to that. We're doing some Borderlands 1 in anticipation of Borderlands 2, which comes out on the, I think it's like anywhere between the 18th and the 20th of September. So there's still a, 8-week while to go. A little bit more, right? No, a little bit less. Also, we're gonna do a mega Let's Play series on Guild Wars 2, if only because the game never ends. So, will our Let's Play ever end? Yeah, I guess it will. But other than that, we're doing some Left 4 Dead, just for literally shits and giggles, because it's just fun. It's like numb gaming. You don't have to think when playing Left 4 Dead. You just have to, fool around, and it's fun anyway. So. I'd say be sure to follow youtube.com/KaosTV, because we're trying to get that channel up to speed, active and whatnot, to make sure that we'll be able to do all these Let's Plays in the future on a separate channel without clouding all the esports content in between. On that note, if we get 1,000 subs, we're going to be giving away some esports gear, so be sure to actually head over there and sub. 1, 2, 3!